Okay, so what we're looking at here is the mite board from Sue. Now if we look really closely across here, I'm having a hard time finding absolutely any mites at all, which is just blowing my mind. All this that you see here is just debris from the hive. Wax cappings, pollen, pieces of wax, wax crystals. I see a wax crystal right here. All kinds of goodies. But I'm not seeing any varroa mites. Not a single one in all of that mess there. So what I've got here is the sticky board from Stan. And looking across it, at first I was kind of discouraged, didn't see any mites. And then I get down to right here. That is a mite right in front of me, my finger, right there. And then if you look ½ inch over, that is a mite. So there's 2 mites, 3 mites. There's another one right in front of my finger. 4, 5, 6. So Stan seems to have more mites than Sue. So the results you just seen are from Sue and Stan. Sue being the bigger colony and Stan being the smaller colony. I went through the colonies the last couple days, and Sue seems to be growing quite a bit faster than Stan. So with that being said, more bees and population in Sue, you would think there would be more varroa mites. So this box seems to be full of bees. We do have a few starting to transition up into the top box, which is a good thing. It should have enough bees to handle winter pretty well. Now check out this brood pattern. Pretty decent for this time of year. All the open cells do have eggs or larvae in them. On the other side, it's not much different. One thing I don't really see a whole lot of is pollen. There's a little bit over here in this corner, but that's about it on this frame. I guess if you look close, there is a bee there with some pollen on its legs. Yellow pollen. The next frame, half brood. Nice frames of brood. The center there where it's open, those cells have emerged. Let's think about how these mites get into our hives. The bees fly out to flowers and they all meet there from different colonies. One colony of bees may have a higher varroa mite count, and when those bees get out on the flowers with other bees, mites jump from one bee to the other, and now a new colony's got mites to bring in. So that's how that all works. What amazes me is that the bees from Sue are meeting out on the flowers with all the bees here in my bee yard and all the feral colonies in my area, and there's still 0 mites. So here's what I did. Yesterday, I came out here to do a mite wash, and when you know, right in the middle of it, my GoPro battery goes dead. So I had to use my phone to share the results, and it's kind of cut up because of the battery cutting out. I didn't get all the footage I wanted to share, but I'm going to overlap what I did get, and I want to explain what you're seeing. When I collect 300 bees from a hive, I do it as simply as possible. The first thing you want to do is you want to go through your colony, you want to find your queen. You don't want to put 300 bees into your easy check container to do a wash and realize, uh-oh, the queen was in there. So I checked over this particular frame really well, made sure the queen was not on it, and then I used my easy check to collect 300 bees. Now I use the easy check cup for my mite washes. It's a very handy cup to have for mite washes, and I must stress this now, alcohol mite wash is a lot more accurate than any other method of checking for mites. So if you want accurate information, alcohol mite wash. And there's actually a line down in here that I need to fill up with bees until I get to that line. Now, a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll shake the frame into another container and then scoop the bees up. But if you watch me here, you're going to see that if you run the Easy Check container easily, real lightly, down the bees' backs and drag downward, the bees kind of fall off into the cup, and it's a real super easy way to collect 300 bees. There's also a line down in the cup that you need to fill the bees up to, so that you know you've got roughly 300 bees. Okay, there we go, 300 bees. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this lid on real loosely so those bees don't escape. I'm going to put this frame back in the colony. So after I collected all my bees, I closed the colony back up, and off to the side I added a little bit of windshield washer fluid to my Easy Check container. Yes, that does kill bees, but the alcohol wash or windshield wash is by far the most accurate way to get a reading on mites in your colony. So I added the windshield washer fluid, I shook it, there was absolutely 0 mites in the container after the windshield washer fluid wash. So I then strained out the bees, or removed the strainer of bees, and then poured that cup of washer fluid into a measuring cup. What I've done is I've drained the fluid that was in here into this measuring cup. I left the bees in the perforated cup in the center, and I've since refilled it with water. I've shaken it for a few minutes to dislodge any mites that may still be in there. Now what I want to do is open this up and remove the strainer, let the majority of it drip back into the cup, and then we're going to pour this water into here. So I use my knees to hold it. I was going to say I got to set the phone down, but okay, so there's our dead bees. Now if we look down in the cup, I see absolutely nothing. But we'll pour it in here, see what we got. Now these can be discarded. They are dead bees. Get this back together. Now what we need to do is look through this fluid and see if we see anything that looks like a mite. Well, let me tell you what I found, folks. There was zero mites in the Easy Check container. I'm going to be honest with you, folks. I don't see anything floating in there except for what looks like a couple gnats or something that was stuck to the inside of the measuring cup from the last time I fed SERP. But I do not see anything in there. The bottom of the cup's got some dirt on it, so from your perspective, I do see a couple specks that you may think are mites, but those are actually on the cup. Now what puzzles me the most about that is that the sticky board that we just looked at said there was 0 mites. And the alcohol wash, windshield washer fluid wash, verified that. Now, if you've been beekeeping for very long, you've probably heard that the alcohol wash is by far the most accurate way to get a reading on mites in your colony. It's better than the sugar roll or any other method. Sticky boards, it's just a lot more reliable. So it just amazes me that the 2 readings were the same, from the sticky board to the wash. Absolutely 0 mites. So not only does it blow my mind that there's 0 mites, it blows my mind that the alcohol mite wash predicted the same thing the sticky board did. Very interesting. I know what you're thinking. 0 mites in the container? Woohoo! Sumac is working. I'm going to start using that as my mite treatment. No, folks, I am not saying that. Just because there is 0 mites in my sample doesn't mean it's because of sumac. It could be a hygienic behavior from the bees, and they're just trained to kill mites. Don't even bring them back. I don't know. I need to understand it more myself. I've been beekeeping 11 years, and to see 0 mites in a colony, that's just unheard of. So don't assume my mite treatment shows that sumac is working. Now, I have some other concerns that I want to bring up. This week, I had a follower comment on my original video from the middle of July this year when I started this testing. And they wrote me this nice long comment, which you can go back on the videos and you can read it yourself. But they brought some points to my attention, and I want to share those with you. And basically what they're saying is that there's no way that I can verify sumac is working to kill mites with just 2 colonies. And I understand that. And I don't look for this test with 2 colonies to officially say, yes, it is working. What I look for this test to do is to say, yes, there seems to be mites dropping more persistently when I use sumac than when I use anything else in my smoker. That's the results I'm looking to gain. And then from there, we'll further the test even more next summer. What they suggest I do in their comment is set up 10, 20, maybe 50 hives into 2 groups, and then monitor the 2 groups. Use one with sumac and one with my regular smoker. And that makes perfect sense. But at the same time, I ain't looking to invest that much until I know there is a reason to invest it. I don't want to take a bunch of colonies and spend a lot of time testing something if there's no way it's working. So I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. And then another concern of mine that's been pointed out, you know, for years I thought the sumac in my area was staghorn sumac, and I'm still not real sure. But I've had a couple people point out in the original mite video from this year, the first one, that the sumac I was using was called smooth sumac. So that changes things a little bit, right? Originally I thought I was using staghorn sumac. Now I find out I might be using smooth sumac. So I don't know what that changes in the test. It's all a learning experience, folks. Oops, didn't mean to bump the camera. This is all a learning experience, not only for me, but for you. So that's where things stand right this minute. I did do some smoking with the sumac on Sue this week. I went through and checked stand with my regular wood shavings. So what my plans are from this point is to keep running this for a couple more weeks using the staghorn or the smooth sumac, whichever it is that I have. See, there's so much conflicting information. One person or 12 people might agree with you that it's staghorn, and then somebody else comes in and puts the worm in your mind that it's smooth, and now you're starting to question it. So you go over to Google and you do a couple searches, and one says it is staghorn, the other one says it is smooth. So what do you do? I just want to try and provide the most accurate information I can. I don't want to put out anything that says, yes, sumac is working for sure, and it not be. And I don't want to say that it's staghorn when it's smooth. So there's some variables here that I need to work with and try to get some of them out of the picture so we know what we're working with and what we've got. But so far, I'm just puzzled to why Sue has absolutely 0 mites. If you have any predictions on that, I would love to hear that down in the comments, because it just doesn't make sense to me. How can it have 0 mites? It's impossible. There has to be mites in there. Did I not check the right bees? Should I went to a different frame? What's your thoughts? Leave them down below. So, in other news, You remember that swarm I had a couple weeks ago? Went up in the pine tree and he hung there, and I used a piece of string to get him down out of the tree. Well, guess what happened this week? Yeah, they swarmed again. Let's go take a look. So, my wife, she comes out this week to leave for work, and she texts me in the house, says, hey, you've got a colony swarming. So I'm gonna guess that I was correct the other day when I said that I thought the majority of the bees had returned from the swarm I captured back to the nuke that they left from. The reason I say that is they're in the middle of swarming again. This time, they're not making it quite so easy for me to get to them. Let me show you where they're going. Now, before, they were up in this tree, pine tree. This time, they're up in this pine tree. The problem is right there's the power line for my house. Right there's a swarm of bees. Now let me see if I can get on the other side of it. If the camera will pick it up better for you to see. It's not really a good spot to get in. Let's go on up the hill here. You can see all the bees flying around. This tree limb here is blocking your view. But anyway, it's getting to be a pretty decent sized cluster of bees up there. So here again, got a box setting up. I got a box set up for them to go into. I sprayed a little swarm commander on it. We've already got a few bees checking it out. We've got more rain coming again. Just like last time. Yeah, the sun went down, or behind the cloud for a second. Maybe you can see them. So, I'm directly below them with this box. I'm gonna get a lid and throw on there. So there, we'll leave the corners open like so. Maybe they'll come down. I don't know. But I know with the power line there, I'm not gonna mess. So they've been in this tree for 3 days now. Storms every single day. The other day I looked out here and it was just pouring. The wind was a whipping. The trees are flipping back and forth, the tree limbs. And the swarm, they're right there in that dark spot. Just hanging up there. So, I got one other thing I want to share with you. I have to walk down here. Come on, ladybug. Come on. Come on, girl. Are you coming? Geez, 100 miles an hour. Oh, looky here. This isn't what I wanted to show you, but Mr. Spider done set up a nest right here in the middle of the bee yard. And he's catching my bees. He got 2 of them on there. Well, Mr. Spider's done for. So here's what I wanted to show you. Goldenrod blooming. I've actually got some right over there on the other side of the driveway that is in bloom. Look right there. There's some more. That's way early, folks. Way early. I know a lot of you said last week in my dearth video that you still had a nectar flow and goldenrod was starting to come on. So you imagine you would avoid the dearth this year. Well, here's what I'm predicting. I'm predicting if you've got a goldenrod flow right now, you'll be feeding after the flow because the flow is going to end early. So keep that in mind. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, please take a minute to do so. And I wanted to throw a huge thanks out to all you new subscribers. It's nice to see all the new names down in the comments. Keep them coming, folks. If you have any questions or comments today, make sure you leave them down there. And hey, don't forget to throw me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching JC's Bees.